Shalom class, my name is Innocent MAPANDA. I hope I find you well. Thank you for tuning in today's lesson, whereby you are going to focus on paper 2 ZIMSEC, November 2007. Right, we are going to start with the first question. It reads, evaluate 1,36 minus 7 over 8, giving your answer as a decimal. Instructions are very important, as a decimal. Right, so since this is paper 2, you can convert 7 divided by 8 into a decimal fraction. So 7 divided by 8, you get 0,875. So I'm going to write 1,36 minus 0,875. So if you less this, you get what? 0,485, and this is your final answer. I hope you are listening, class. Right, so let us move on to part B of the question. The diagram shows a rectangle ABCD with DC is equals to 10 centimeters and BC is equals to 6 centimeters. Right, right angle triangle PQR has been cut off. This is the right angle triangle, right, which was cut off from the rectangle, such that AP is equals to 2 centimeters, PQ is equals to 3, and BR is equals to 4 centimeters. Calculate the perimeter of the shape APQRBCD. Right, so perimeter is the distance right round the edge of the shape. So the first thing to do here is to calculate this missing distance from Q to R. I hope you are listening. Right, so how do you calculate this missing distance? You make use of Pythagoras Theorem after calculating the distance from P to R. Right, so you can notice that DC is 10 centimeters. Right, then we have 2 centimeters from A to P and 4 centimeters from R to B. So it means 2 plus 4, you get 6. Take away 6 from 10, it means P to R is 4, in such a way that 2 plus 4 plus 4, it will then give you DC, which is 10. I hope you are listening. Right, so according to Pythagoras Theorem, we have what we call triples. Right, if you have 3, right, and 4, it means that your hypotenuse is 5. I hope you are listening. Right, but if you don't know the triples, right, you make use of the Pythagoras Theorem, which is h squared is equals to a squared plus b squared, where h is the side opposite to the 90 degree. In this case, our 90 degree is here, and x is opposite to that 90 degree. So it means x squared, right, the side opposite to this 90, is equals to 3 squared plus 4 squared. I hope you are listening. So x squared is equals to 9 plus 16. Right, where 3 squared is 9 and 4 squared is 16. X squared is equals to 25. To find x, you create square root both sides. Square root of x squared, you get x. Square root of 25 is 5. So we have x is equals to 5, covering the distance from Q to R. Right, now that we have that missing value, it is now easy for us to calculate the perimeter. But you need to understand the properties of a rectangle. Opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. So if BC is 6, it means AD is also 6. So our perimeter is made up of AD plus DC plus CB plus BR plus RQ plus QP plus PA. So I'm going to write 6 here. I'm starting measuring my perimeter from A right round, right, to get back to this original point. 6 is going to be added by 10. Then you add 6 upwards here. Then you add 4 centimeters. You add 5, which was the missing value, plus 3 here, plus 2. So if you add all those like terms, you will find out that your perimeter is 36. Then you are home and dry. I want you to stay tuned as we move on to question number 2. It reads, factorize completely x squared minus 6x. So to factorize, we have to identify what you call the highest common factor, right? I want you to notice something, class, right? When you want to identify the highest common factor, especially for algebraic expressions in letters, take for instance, you have m cubed, right, plus m to the power 5. The highest common factor is the one with the lowest power. In this case, you have to factor out m cubed with the lowest power, so that m cubed into m cubed you get 1, right? Then m cubed into m to the power 5, right? You will be left with m squared. I hope you are listening, right? So if we look at x squared and x here, there is a common term in x, but the highest common factor is the x with the smallest power. I hope you are listening, class, right? So x into x squared, you get x. Then x and x, they cancel out each other, leaving you with 6. So your final answer is x open bracket x minus 6. Then you get yourself a single mark. So I'm going to write down my answer on this given space available. I hope you are following, class, right? Let us move on to item 2. Factorize completely m minus 1 squared minus 9, right? So we apply what we call difference of two squares. I'm going to start by using a simple example, right, so that you understand what is difference of two squares, right? Take for example, you are given x squared minus 4 and you are being asked to factorize completely, right? Difference of two squares produces two brackets like this, right? Square root of x squared, you get x, then you put a negative sign in between. Square root of 4, you get 2, right? So I want you to understand something, right? The second bracket is going to be, right, structured in such a way that we have a positive sign in between, but using x and 2. So the difference between the two brackets is the other bracket has got a negative sign and the other bracket has got a positive sign. I hope you are listening. But we'll be using the square root of x squared and 4, right? So we are going to apply the same skill here. We are given m minus 1 squared as a perfect square minus 9, where 9 is also a perfect square, right? So in this case, let me use big brackets since we have a smaller bracket, right? Square root of m minus 1 squared, you'll be left out with m minus 1, like this. Then you put negative sign, the way we did on x squared minus 4. Square root of 9 is 3, right? So the other bracket is going to use a positive sign, but using m minus 1 and 3. So I'm going to put a positive sign in between m minus 1 and 3. I hope you are listening, class, right? So this is minus 1, minus 3, right? And this is a minus 1 plus 3. So you can notice that minus 1 and minus 3 are like terms, which produces minus 4, right? Then minus 1 and plus 3 are like terms, which produces 2. So your final answer is a minus 4 and m plus 2. Then you are home and dry. I hope you are listening, class. Stay focused as we move on to the next question. Express 3 over v minus 3 minus 2 over v minus 2 as a single fraction in its simplest form, right? So the first thing to do is to identify the LCM of the denominators. The LCM of v minus 3 and v minus 2 is the product of the denominators placed in brackets. So what you need to do here, you put a division line like this, then you place v minus 3 in bracket and v minus 2 in bracket as your first stage, right? So you can notice that v minus 3 and v minus 3, they cancel out each other, though you are not cancelling here, right? You'll be left with the v minus 2, which is going to multiply 3 above. So you start by writing 3, then you put v minus 2 in front. Then this negative sign in between the fractions, you put it here, right? V minus 2 and V minus 2, they cancel out each other. You'll be left with the V minus 3 to multiply 2 above. So you write 2, then V minus 3 in front. So to express it in its simplest form, right, you then need to remove brackets on your numerator and collect like terms whilst maintaining your LCM. So there is no need for you to expand the LCM. Your LCM, V minus 3 and V minus 2, you are going to leave them in the same form. But you expand and remove brackets on your numerator, then you collect like terms, right? So this 3 is going to multiply each and every term inside the bracket, V minus 2. So 3 times V, you get 3V. 3 times minus 2, you get minus 6. I hope you are listening, class. Then you put your negative sign here. Minus 2 times V, you get minus 2V, right? So this is now where majority of the candidates may lose it here, right? Before you multiply 2 and 3, you have to start by multiplying the signs first, right? If you know the multiplication facts, you need to be aware that negative sign times negative sign, if they multiply each other, you get a positive result. So negative times negative, you get a positive result. Then 2 times 3, you get 6. I hope you are following, class, right? So remember, on each and every stage that you move to, you have to maintain your lowest common multiple, right, in brackets, right? So 3V is a like term with minus 2V. Minus 6 is a like term with plus 6. I hope you are following. So what is 3V minus 2V? 3V minus 2V is 1V, which is good as V. Negative 6 plus 6, you get 0. There is no need for you to write that 0. Right? So your final answer is V, which is your numerator, divided by V minus 3 and V minus 2 like this. Then you are home and try. Question number 2A, it reads, 3 interior angles of a hexagon. Whenever you see the word hexagon, know that a hexagon is a polygon with 6 sides. So you have 6 sides in your mind, right? Are each x degrees, and the remaining 3 interior angles are each y degrees, right? Form an equation in x that satisfies this condition, right? So since we have 3 angles which are x degrees, we are going to write 3x here. I hope you are following, class, right? Then we also have 3 angles which are y degrees. So it means that 3x is going to be added by 3y to have the sum of interior angles, right? So you need to equate this to the total or to the sum of the interior angles of a hexagon, which is found by this formula, n minus 2 times 180, right? Where n is the number of sides of the polygon, right? So I'm going to write 6 minus 2 here times 180. 6 minus 2, you get 4. 4 times 180, it gives you 720. So equate this to 720. This is your final answer, right? But it can be reduced in its lowest terms, since you can see that 3 is a common factor. So you can divide each and every term by 3 to reduce your equation in its simplest form. So 3 into 3x, you'll be left out with x here. 3 into 3y, you'll be left out with y here. Then 720 divided by 3, you get 240. So your final answer is x plus y is equals to 240. Then, given also that 5x is equals to what? To 7y. Use this equation and equation in 1 to find the values of x and y, right? So remember, in equation 1 we have x plus y is equals to 240. Then another way of writing 5x is equals to 7y is 5x, right? Then you take this 7y, move it from the right side to the left side, it becomes a negative 7y. You leave this side with a 0. I hope you are listening, class, right? So after that, it is now a matter of making the coefficients of x similar and apply elimination method. Though substitution method is also another way of doing it. I hope you are listening. So x is good as 1x. Multiply equation 2 by 1. Multiply equation 1 by 5, right? So 5 times x, you get 5x. 5 times y, it gives you 5y. I hope you are listening, class, right? Then it's equals to 240 times 5. What do you get? 1200. Right? I hope you are listening. Right. Then after that, 1 times 5x, you get 5x minus 7y is equals to 0. Right. So to make sure that you do not miss it, you put negative sign in between like terms. So 5x minus 5x, you get 0. Then this negative sign in between 5y and minus 7y is going to multiply this negative sign on 7y so that they produce a plus sign. So it's now 5y plus 7y giving you 12y. I hope you are listening, class. Right. Then 1200 minus 0, you get what? 1200. Divide both sides by 12. So 12 into 1200, you get 100. I hope you are listening, class. So after finding the value of y is equals to 100, you have to choose the equation of your choice between the x plus y is equals to 240 or 5x is equals to 7y, right? So let's say you choose x plus y is equals to 240, right? To find the value of x, right, you have to put 100 on y. So it becomes x plus 100 is equals to 240 like this, right? Then shift 100 to the right side. You get x is equals to 240 minus 100, which gives you x is equals to 140 degrees. So this is how you work it out. So I noticed that students normally have a challenge in presenting their answers. They might have correct workings, but on placing their answers, they tend to misplace their answers incorrectly, right? So make sure that x is aligned to 140 and y is aligned to 100. Do not put 100 on top and 140 at the bottom. I hope you are listening, class, right? So let us move on to the next question. Diagram shows points A, B, and T on the circumference of a circle, center O. PT is a tangent to the circle at T. AB is parallel to TO, and ATB is equals to 40 degrees. Name two angles which are equal to ABT. The question is not requiring you to calculate the angle ABT, but the question is requiring you to name two angles which are equal to ABT. I hope you are listening. Right. So what is ABT? So this is ABT. I hope you are listening. We want to identify two angles which are equal to ABT. Right. I'm going to lead you to a theorem, right, which is in line with the theorem of tangents, right? It says that angles on the alternate segment is equal to the angle at the point of contact between the triangle and the tangent. Right? It means that if this angle is x, this angle becomes x as well. Angle in the alternate segment is equal to the angle at the point of intersection between the chord of the triangle and the tangent. So you can clearly notice that if I am to twist this paper, there is a tangent which is PT, right? This angle at the point of intersection between this cyclic triangle here and the chord here and the tangent must be equal to the angle at B. I hope you are listening. So the first angle which is equivalent to B is ATP. So let me write my answer here. ATP. I hope you are listening, class. Right. Then we need to identify the second angle. Right. The second angle equal to this, you can notice that we have got parallel lines here. Using these two arrows, TO and AB are moving in the same direction, creating what we call Z angles. Z angles are equal. Right. So it means this angle B is equal to this angle BTO. So it means the second angle equal to ABT is BTO. Then you are home and dry. I hope you are listening. Let us move on to the next. Calculate BAT, 2 marks. Right. So to calculate BAT, let us first of all identify the angle BAT. Right. Where is BAT? This is the required angle BAT. I hope you are listening, class. Right. So for you to find that angle BAT, you must first of all find the angle at B. Then you make use of the theorem, sum of angles in a triangle add up to 180. Right. So how do I find the angle at B? Right. Since we now know that this angle at B and this angle at BTO and this angle at ATP are all equal, let them be represented by x. So I'm going to put x here, x there, and x there. I hope you are listening. Right. After that, there is a theorem. Right. Radius and the tangent, they form 90 degrees at their point of contact. Right. So it means that this entire angle here, is 90 degrees. This entire angle is 90 degrees. So it means that if I take x here, add this x with 40, and add it with another x there, because we have got three angles, x, 40, and x, which are formulating 90 degrees using this theorem of radius and tangent. Equate to 90. You get 2x plus 40 is equals to 90. I hope you are listening. Move 40 to the right side. You get 90 minus 40. This is 2x is equals to 50. Then divide both sides by 2. You get x is equals to 25. Right. So since x is equals to 25, right, it means that we have 25 degrees at B. We have 25 degrees at this BTO, and we also have 25 degrees at ATP. I hope you are listening. But the required angle is A, angle at A here. Sum of angles in a triangle add up to 180. So 25 plus 40, you get 65. 180 minus 65, your final answer is 115. So the required angle here is 115 degrees. Then you are home and dry. I hope you are listening, class. Given that AX is equals to square root of b squared minus x squared, express x in terms of a and b. To express x in terms of a, b is good as making x the subject of the formula, right? So the first thing to do here is to get rid of this root sign. To remove root sign, you have to square both sides by power 2 like this. I hope you are listening. Then this power 2 raises everything inside the bracket ax. So you are going to come out with a squared, x squared. I hope you are listening. It raises a and x. Take for example, if you have x, y, z being raised by power 2 like this, it produces x squared, y squared, z squared. This is what I'm trying to say here, right? Then the power 2 on the right side does not affect the terms inside the square root, but it removes the square root without affecting the inner terms. So the inner terms b squared minus x squared are going to come out as they are, but the square root is going to be removed by that power 2. And power 2 and the square root, they both vanish, leaving you with the b squared minus x squared. I hope you are following, class, right? So since we now need to make x the subject of the formula, we need to put terms in x on their own side. So ax squared, moving this negative x squared to the left side, you get plus x squared. This goes to b squared like this. Then factor out x squared as the highest common factor. You'll be left with a squared plus 1 is equals to b squared. I hope you are listening. Divide both sides by a squared plus 1. So you notice that a squared plus 1 and a squared plus 1, they cancel out each other, leaving you with x squared is equals to b squared over a squared plus 1 like this. I hope you are listening. But you are not yet through. We need to make x the subject of the formula. So we now need to get rid of this power 2. I want you to understand something. To remove square root, you put power 2 both sides. But to remove power 2, you have to put square root both sides. So square root of x squared, you get x. I hope you are listening. Then make sure the root sign is covering both the numerator and the denominator. Because if you present your answer like square root of b squared over a squared plus 1, you'll be marked wrong. Why? Because the square root or the root sign must cover both the numerator and the denominator. So this is your final answer. Then your home entry. It is given that the matrix P 3 minus 2 1 0 minus 1 4, right, and matrix Q minus 2 3 minus 4 5, right. State the order of matrix P, right. So to state the order of matrix P, you use this direction. You start from here, then you use this direction, right. What is the meaning of that direction? We have two numbers upwards. I hope you are listening. So I'm going to write 2, right. Then you write by, or you put multiplication sign, right. Then you can notice that the arrow is now shifting to the right side. How many numbers shifting to the right side? 1 2 3. So your answer is 2 by 3. So you can present your answer as 2 by 3, or you can present your answer as 2 times 3. I hope you are listening. This is the order of matrix P. We move on to question number 3A2. Calculate Q squared. Q squared in simple terms means Q times Q. It means the matrix Q is multiplying itself twice. Therefore, you are going to write minus 2 3 minus 4 5. Then you write minus 2 3 minus 4 5 twice like this. Right. So when multiplying matrices, you need to check the matrices first, so as to identify the order of your solution. Right. This is a 2 by 2 matrix multiplying a 2 by 2 matrix. Right. Having common numbers in between, it means it is possible. But this first number and the last number, they determine your final answer. So your final answer is going to be a 2 by 2 answer. Right. So I'm going to put 4 brackets here as a setup of a 2 by 2, because a 2 by 2 must be an answer with 4 terms inside in a square format, right? So you multiply using row by column. So to find this bracket, I'm going to choose the top row, multiply the top row with the first column. I hope you are listening, class. So the first number in the row, which is -2, multiplies the first number in the column, which is -2. -2 times -2, you get 4, right? The last number in the row is 3. It multiplies the last number in the column, which is -4. So 3 times -4, you get -12. Then we move on to this bracket, right? So first number in the top row times first number, which is 3 in the second column. -2 times 3, you get -6. Then 3 by 5, you get 15. So you need to understand that all the top brackets are going to be found using the top row, right? But the bracket on your left side is top row times first column. Then the bracket on your right side is top row times second column, right? We are now moving on to bottom brackets. For bottom brackets, we multiply using bottom row. So I'm going to start with the bottom row, first column. First number times first number. So -4 times -2, you get +8. Since negative number times negative number, it produces a positive result. 5 times -4, you get -20. Then -4 times 3, you get -12. Then 5 by 5, it produces 25. So what is 4 minus 12? You get -8, right? What is -6 plus 15? You get 9. I hope you are listening, because you have to take the sign of the bigger number, right? 8 minus 20, this is -12, right? Then -12 plus 25, you start by identifying the difference between 12 and 25, which is 13. But how do you know that your answer is 13 or -13? You look at the sign of the bigger number. 25 is the bigger number with the plus sign. So your answer is +13. But if it was -25 plus 12, your answer was going to be -13, where the bigger sign, where the sign of the bigger sign will be a negative. So you have to take note of that. I hope you are listening, class. Right. Let us move on to item 2. Calculate q to the power of -1. Q to the power of -1 means inverse of q. So I always encourage students to use this way when calculating inverse. You identify this as branch 1. Denote this as branch 2. You start by identifying the determinant of q, which can be written in this format. I hope you are listening. So determinant of q is going to be obtained by bracket minus bracket, where the first bracket is going to be a product of the numbers in the branch 1, and the second bracket is going to be a product of numbers in branch 2. So in branch 1 we have -2 and 5, so it means I'm going to multiply -2 times 5, right? In branch 2 we have -4 and 3, I'm going to multiply -4 times 3, right? So if you put -4 times 3 in the first bracket and -2 times 5 in the second bracket, will be marked wrong. So highlighting branch 1 and branch 2 is a skill, right, of making sure that you do not interchange the brackets. I hope it improves accuracy, right? So -2 times 5, you get -10. I hope you are listening, right? Then you put this negative sign in between. -4 times 3, it produces -12. So you now have -10 plus 12, where plus is coming by multiplying negative with negative. Like what I told you earlier concerning the issue of directed numbers. If you have a negative sign and a positive number, like -10 and +2, the first thing is to identify the difference between the two numbers. The difference between 10 and 12 is 2. but you want to know whether your answer is 2 or minus 2, you have to use the sign of the bigger number between the two numbers. So the bigger number is 12. What is the sign attached to 12? Plus. So your answer is plus 2, right? So this is not the ultimate answer, right? But it is the stage required when calculating inverse, right? So now that we have the determinant, q to the power of minus 1 can now be written. You write 1 over 2 the determinant. So this 1 over must be used whenever you are asked to calculate inverse, but the determinant differs from one question to another, right? We go back to the troubleshooter of branches, right? So in branch 1, we use the skill of swapping or interchange, right? So by interchange, I mean minus 2 and 5 are going to interchange their positions. So you are going to put 5 on the original position of minus 2, then you put minus 2 on the original position of 5. This is the swapping effect, right? Then on branch 2, you don't interchange. It's either you multiply by minus 1 or you just need to change sign. This 3 was a positive 3. If we multiply this by minus 1 or changing sign, it becomes negative 3. This 4 was negative. If we change sign or multiply by minus 1, it becomes positive 4. So this is your final answer and your home and try. I hope you are listening, class. M varies directly as the square of r and inversely as the square root of h. We call this joint variation, where two variations are connected, right? Making use of the multiplication, right? So let us rewrite this sentence in variation format. You are going to start by writing the capital letter M. Varies, you put this variation sign. Directly means as it is. So as it is, right, as the square of r. Square of r means r squared. I hope you are listening, class. Then under joint variation, you connect the two using multiplication. We only use plus when we are in partial variation, where the question says partly constant and partly varies. This is the only way where you use plus. But in every situation which is not partial variation, we connect the two types of variations using multiplication, right? Then this word inversely means 1 over something. So I'm going to write 1 over, the something here is the square root of h. So you write square root of h. So there is a difference between square of r and square root. For square root, you put h inside the square root. For square of r, you write r squared. I hope you are listening, class, right? So you now need to remove the variation sign, replace it with the equal sign. But that process requires you to multiply the right side with the constant of proportionality. And in this question, the constant of proportionality is k. So this k multiplies 1. So you'll be having r squared times k over root h, which can now be written as r squared times k. You get r squared k or k r squared over root h. So your answer is m is equals to r squared k over root h. Then you are home and dry. You get yourself a single mark for that. Then we move on to item 2. Find the value of k when r is equals to h, which is equals to 4. R is equals to h, which is equals to 4. It simply means r is equals to 4. And h is also equivalent to 4. This is the meaning of r is equals to h is equals to 4, right? Then we are given that m is equals to 12. So we go back to the formula or to the law or to the equation or to the relationship that we found in part B1. Rewrite it again, right? So this complete set of r is equals to h is equals to 4 and m is equals to 12. It helps you to then calculate the known value of k, right? So on m, I'm going to put 12. On R, I'm going to put 4, so you get 4 squared. Then you put K over root of 4. I hope you are listening, class. So this 12 can be written as 12 over 1. All right. Then 4 squared, you get 16, so this is 16K. Then square root of 4 is 2. Right. But you can notice that 2 is a factor of 16. So you can write this as 12 is equals to 8K like this. I hope you are listening. So if 2 was not a factor of 16, we then use cross multiplication. But since 2 is a factor of 16, you just write 12 is equals to 8K. So to make 8 this K the subject, divide both sides by the coefficient of K, which is 8. So this can be reduced in lowest terms by 4. 4 into 12, you get 3, right? Then 4 into 8, you get 2. So your answer is 3 over 2, or it can be written as 1.5, or it can be written as 1,5. I hope you are listening, class. Right. ABC is a scalene. So whenever you see scalene triangle, this is a triangle with 3 sides which are not equal. Equilateral triangle, all 3 sides are equal. Isosceles triangle, 2 of the sides are equal. But a scalene triangle, right, none of the 3 sides are equal. All the 3 sides are different, right? But according to this example, or according to this case, ABC is a 90 degree. So write down the special name of the quadrilateral that is formed when ABC and its image after a reflection line AC. So let us have line AC here, like this. Then you put the 90 degree must be placed at B, right? So let me do this. Put 90 degree at B like this, right? So if this line AC is the reflection line, it means line AC acts as the mirror line. So it means that the image will come out like this. So this is the image of this shape, right? So what is the quadrilateral being formed? You can notice that we have 2 top sides which are equal and 2 bottom sides which are equal, right? This is a kite. So your answer is a kite. On question number 4, we are being given 3 subsets which are A, B, and C in a Venn diagram drawn. 3 Venn diagram. It reads, the Venn diagram shows the universal set, right, which is being represented by this sign, right? Then it reads, and its subsets A, B, and C. The number of elements in each region is shown. Find number of B, right? So to find the number of B, you have to add all the terms in the circle B. We have 7 minus x here to be added by what? By this x there. Then added by 6. Then you add it by 5. I hope you are listening. So minus x and plus x, they cancel out each other, giving you a 0. 7 plus 6, you get 13. 13 plus 5, you get 18. So our answer is 18. Right. Then we move on to part 2. Right. Find the number of A complement intersection B intersection what? C, where A is a complement of set A. What is A complement? Right. A complement, it means terms which are in the universal set but which are not part of set A. I hope you are listening, right? So I want to identify B intersection C first, right? So B intersection C, this is B intersection C, where the circle of B and the circle of C intersects. I hope you are listening, right? But B intersection C is intersecting with A complement, right? So A complement means we need the terms which are not in A. It means that this x, which is part of B intersection C, is now going to be overlooked. So you are going to be left with this part alone, which is 6. I hope you are listening. So the number here required is 6. Then you are home and dry. Right. Then we move on to part 4.3 of the question. It reads, find the value of x given that number of a is equals to 23. So if we are given that number of a is equals to 23, it means that we write 23 on the circumference of the circle A. Add everything in this circle A and equate it to 23. I hope you are listening. Right. So we have 7 minus x, which is in set A, to be added with x here, which is also in set A, to be added with 8 minus x, add it with 12, equate it to 23. I hope you are listening, class. Like this, right? So minus x plus x, you get a 0. All right. 7 plus 8, this is 15. 15 plus 12, you get 27. So this is 27 minus x is equals to 23, right? Collect like terms, you get 27 minus 23, shifting 23 to the left side, then put minus x to the right side, you get x. 27 minus 23, you get 4. So it means that x is equals to 4. I hope you are listening, class. Right. So these workings are done on this space below. Question number 4b, it reads, 4y minus 3x is equals to minus 8 is an equation of a straight line. Find the gradient of the line. Right. So what you need to understand is the gradient of the line, right, is the coefficient of x when y is made the subject of the formula. Right. So you have to remove all terms which are not in y, place them to the right side. So if minus 3x is moved to the right side, it becomes positive 3x. Right. Then you have negative 8, which is there already. Right. So to make y the subject of the formula, you have to divide by 4 throughout. Divide by 4 throughout. Right. So this is 3/4 of x. Then 4 into 8, you get 2. Right. So likewise, the form of the equation is equals to y is equals to mx plus c. Gradient is represented by m, where gradient is the coefficient of x when y stands on its own without a number which is not 1. Right. So your answer is 3/4, which is the coefficient of x when y is the subject of the formula. Find the coordinates of the point where the straight line crosses the y-axis. Whenever you hear y-axis, know that another name for y-axis is x is equals to 0. Whenever you hear x-axis, know that another name for x-axis is y is equals to 0. Right. So in this case, we are being given y-axis. Y-axis means x is equals to 0. And what do we mean by coordinates? Coordinates is the x value and the y value represented in the form of a point. I hope you are listening. So now that we know that y-axis is another name, which is x is equals to 0, it means that on x I'm going to put 0. So it means that the value of y is the value which is left to complete the coordinates, right? So you take your equation, right? We can make use of the one that we have made y the subject, which is far much easier. Y is equals to 3/4 x minus 2 is good as this original equation in the first part of the question. They are same, it's just this is another form, right? So on x I'm going to put 0 so as to find the y coordinate. So you get y is equals to 3/4, then put 0 on x, this is minus 2. So 3/4 times 0, you get 0. So y is equals to minus 2. It means that the y coordinate is minus 2. So your answer is 0 and minus 2. Then you are home and dry. Find the equation of the line parallel to 4y minus 3x is equals to minus 8, passing through the point 0, 3. Whenever you hear this word parallel, it means that the previous line, or this line, which is 4y minus 3x is equals to minus 8, which we identified in part A to have a gradient of 3 over 4. Right. Here's a common gradient with the required line in part B3. So the first thing to write whenever you are given a question, find the equation of the line. You start by writing y is equals to mx plus c. Right. Then after that, you put 3 over 4, the gradient of this line, on m. Then you write plus c. Since the two lines are parallel to each other, it means they share a common gradient. Right. So to find c, you use this point where the line is passing through. That point is 0, 3. Substitute 0, 3 on y and x so as to find c. Right. So on y I'm going to put 3. Then on x I'm going to put 0. Then you write plus c like this. So 3/4 times 0 you get 0. So it means 3 is equals to c. So your final answer is y is equals to 3 over 4x plus 3. So this is how you identify the equation of the line. Right. But you need to be careful. Some questions, they ask you to present your answer in the form ay plus bx plus c is equals to 0. If you are asked to present in this form, you need to take y over is equals to 3/4 x plus 3. Put this over 1, put this over 1. Then your LCM is 4. Multiply throughout by 4. So this is 4 times y over 1 is equals to 4 times 3 over 4x plus 4, 3 over 1. So 4 times y over 1, you get 4y. I hope you are following. Then 4 and 4, they cancel out each other, giving you 3x. 4 times 3, you get 12. Then you move 3x and 12 to the left side. You come out with 4y minus 3x minus 12 is equals to 0. So this is how you do it if you are asked to present in this form. But if the examiner is silent about this form, your answer, leave it as y is equals to 3/4 x plus 3. You are home and dry. We move on to part C of the question. It reads, a jug 20 centimeters high, right, has a capacity of what? 125 mils when full. Calculate the height of the similar jug, which is a capacity of 1 liter when full. Right. So let me put the jugs so that you can see the practicality of the question. We have a smaller jug and a bigger jug. Right. So this is the smaller jug with a height of 20 centimeters with a capacity of what? 125 mils. Take note of that. These are mils, right? So you have to express 1 liter into mils so that you deal with the same unit, right? So 1 liter is good as 1000 mils. So this bigger jug, instead of writing 1 liter, I write 1000 mils so that you have mils on the left side and mils on the right side. So the height of the bigger jug is unknown, right? Let the height be represented by h, right? So for you to find the height, you make use of what you call scale factor, right? So this complete set of 125 and 1000 mils is in the capacity factor, which is also known as the volume factor, right? So you have to reduce this volume factor first by putting a cube root so as to find the scale factor, which would then help you or lead you to the calculation of this height. I hope you are listening, class, right? So do we have the cube root of 125? Yes, we have. The number which multiplies it so 3 times to get 125 is 5. the number which multiplies itself 3 times to get 1000 is 10. So 5 over 10 can be written as 1 over half. So 1 over half is now representing the scale factor, which would then make use of to find the height using the scale of cross multiplication. So you write 1 over 2 is equals to 1 is representing the smaller jug, right? So it means the height of the smaller jug is known as 20 centimeters. So 20 is going to be aligned with the 1, the ratio of the smaller jug. Then height is the missing height of the bigger jug. So you cross multiply. 1 times h, you get h. 2 times 20, you get 40. So the height of the bigger jug is 40 centimeters. Number 5, it reads, a trader made a profit of 16% on the cost price by selling a handset of $29. So sometimes in an exam, when you see 29,00, just ignore these 2 zeros. Take 29,00 as 29 so that you don't confuse yourself. I hope you are listening, right? So likewise, remember in my previous teachings that the cost price or a previous figure or original figure is always represented by 100%, right? So what you need to do here is you write 100% is equals to x because the cost price is unknown, right? But the trader made a profit. So to make a profit, it means 16% was added to the 100% to get 116%. But if the trader made a loss, you have to subtract 100 minus 16. Then you make use of 84%, right? In this case, you make use of 116 because for profit you add. So 116% is the $29 that we are talking about, right? So to find x, you use the scale of cross multiplication, where 116 multiplies x, you get 116x. Then 29 times 100 to get 29, then you put 2 zeros in front. Divide both sides by 116. I hope you are listening, class. Right? So what do you get here when you divide by 116? Right, so 2,900 divided by 116, you get $25. So the cost price is $25. Then you are home and try. Then we move on to item 2 of the question. Calculate the selling price of the handset if a loss of 30% was realized, right? So if we realize a loss here, remember the cost price is 100%. So we now know that the 100% is equivalent to this 25, right? So a loss means subtract. So if 100 is less by 30, the loss of 30 gives a selling price of 70%. And in this case, the selling price is the unknown. So you have to put x aligned to the unknown, which is represented by 70%. But the cost, we have found it already in part A1 as $25, and it remains at 100%. So to find the selling price, which gives a loss of 30%, you now need to do the process of cross multiplication. So you get 100x here, then 70 times 25. 70 times 25, you get 1750. Divide both sides by 100. So x is equals to $17.50. So this is the selling price, which results in a loss of 30%. I hope you are listening, class. Right. We move on to question number 5b. This is in line with the issue of logarithms, right? So log 81 to base x is equals to 2. What you need to know is the meaning of log. Log is an instruction to find a power. If you know the meaning of log, you will not have challenges, right? So if log is an instruction to find a power, it means that 2 is representing the power. and x represent the base, 81 represent the number. I hope you are listening, class, right? So what you need to do here is you have to take this power 2, raise it on the base x, you get x to the power of 2. Once you raise the base by the power, the log will quickly vanish, right? The log will have nothing to stay, right? So you will then equate x squared with 81. I hope you are listening. Then you put square root both sides so as to remove this power 2, right? But you don't have to put plus or minus because we do not have a negative base. So you just need to put square root without putting plus or minus. So square root of x squared is x, then square root of 81 is 9. So it means that the value of x is 9. Then you are home and dry. I hope you are listening, class. We move on to part B2. Simplify 3 times 10 squared minus 2 times 10 to the power of minus 1, giving your answer in standard form. So whenever you are simplifying questions in standard form with a negative sign or a plus sign in between, you don't have to collect like terms, but you have to start by expressing both sides in ordinary form. So since we have 2 as a positive power, it means 10 squared is 100. 3 times 100, it gives you 300 in this first bracket. Then you put a negative sign here, right? But on the right side, we have minus 1, a negative power. Minus 1, it means we are going to move comma 1 step to the left. So take, for example, this is 2. If we move comma 1 step to the left, you will have 0, 2. So 2 times 10 to the power of minus 1 is 0, 2, right? So 300 less 0, 2. So 300 will be written as 300, 0 minus 0, 2. So this, it can't, this is 8, carry 1. 10 minus 1, you get 9. This carry 1. 10 minus 1, you get 9. Then 3 minus 1, you get 2. So this is 299, 8, right? But remember, they want you to present your answer in standard form. Standard form is the form which is written as 10a times 10 to the power of n, where a is a number above 1, but which does not exceed 10. So for 29.9, to be in that range, we have to put a comma between 2 and 9. So it produces 2,998 times, right? So the number of digits between the placed comma and the original comma denotes the power. So our power here is 2. So you have to multiply it times 10 to the power of 2. Then you are home and dry. We move on to part C, right? Part C is in line with the topic of patterns, right? Study the number pattern. So this topic, it tests knowledge. You don't have to cram, but you need to be someone who is able to figure out and start the pattern. The examiner is testing knowledge here, right? So 0022, 1, 2, 3, 5, right? Then 2, 6, 2, 8, right? What you need to understand here, you can notice that this third row has got 2's, right? So it means on the nth, fifth row, I'm also going to put what? 2, right? There is no change here, right? Then we need to start the first row, 0, 1, 2, 3. These are integers increasing by 1. So it means the fifth number is 4 here. Then there is a common difference in the second row of 3. So if we add 3 on 9, it gives it 12 here. I hope you are listening, right? Then we move on to the last, right? Here there is a common difference of what? Okay, on the last one, it is a matter of adding the second number in the row with the third number in the row. Like 0 plus 2, you get 2. 3 plus 1, you get 5. 6 plus 2, you get 8. 9 plus 2, you get 11. So 12 plus 2, this should be 14. So you are home and dry. So your answer is 4, 12, 2, and what? And 14. Right. Then we move on to part 2 of the question. Express x in terms of n, 2 marks. Right. So to express x in terms of n, right, you first of all need to write some terms here. Right. Remember, this third row is uniform with 2's from the top to the bottom. It means we have 2 here again. I hope you are listening. Right. So I want you to start something here. Right. The nth term for this, right, second row is 1. So it means the number of rows, right, minus 1, you get the number in that row. For example, second row, it means 2 minus 1, you get 1. Third row, it means 3 minus 1, you get 2. So nth row, it means n minus 1. So there is n minus 1 representing this position here. I hope you are listening, class. Right. Then if you start again, if we multiply the first row by 3, you get the number in the second row. Like 0 times 3, you get 0. 1 times 3, you get 3. 2 times 3, you get 6. 3 times 3, you get 9. 4 times 3, you get 12. So it means to get the term here, I'm going to multiply this n minus 1 by 3. I hope you are following. Right. So we then go back to the original way of finding the number in the last column. The columns in between, 12 plus 2, you get 14. So it means 3, right, n minus 1 here is going to be added by these 2, so as to find x. I hope you are listening, class. So if you want to put this in its simplest form, you then come out with 3n minus 3 plus 2 is equals to x, right, which is 3n minus 3 plus 2, get minus 1 is equals to x. So your answer is 3n minus 1 in its simplest form. Then you are home and dry. So this question of patterns is not something that you can claim, but it manifests in different ways from one question to another. It just needs to test knowledge. Someone must start the pattern and do according to the question. I hope you are listening, class. Right. We are now moving on to the last segment of this lesson, where we are going to concentrate on geometrical construction. Right. Answer the whole of this question on page 18. Right. So I do not have page 18 here, so I'm going to make use of this plain paper to do my solution. Right. Construct in a single diagram triangle AXB such that AX is equal to 5 centimeters, BX is equal to 7.5 centimeters, and AXB is equal to 60 degrees. Line BX has been drawn up on page 18. So this is page 18, but the page 18 that I have is not up to the scale. So you'll be given the baseline already, XB. I hope you are listening. So I'm going to start by drawing this line XB on my plain paper, where XB is a line of 7.5 centimeters. Right. So you take your ruler. When measuring your line, you start from 0. Right. So I'm going to start from 0, like this. up to 7,5. Then you put the start point here and the end point, and this point is being represented as X, this point is being represented as B. I hope you are following, class. Right, so let us proceed. Right, so AX is equal to 5 centimeters, AXB is equal to 60 degrees. So you start with the 60 degrees before you move on to AX. So we need 60 degrees at point X. It is very simple. To plot 60 degrees at point X, you take your compass. This needle, right, is going to be placed on X like this. You open a radius of 3/4 of the line XB. Then you put an arc like this on top of X starting here. You do not have to change the radius. Keep and maintain the same distance that you have drawn up the first arc. Right? Place your compass at this point. Then you put another small arc like this. Then you take your ruler and your pencil so that you connect the point of intersection of X, right, and this point like this. Right, I hope you are listening. So this is the first thing to do. Then after that, we move on to this line, which is AX. AX is being denoted as 5 centimeters, right? So you need to measure a distance of 5 centimeters, right? So you start from 0. This is 0, and your pencil must be at 5, like this, right? Then this is AX, so you have to cut from X and cut, right? So if you cut, you can notice that our point A is here. I hope you are listening, right? Then connect A and B to form a triangle. Since a triangle is a shape with 3 sides, you will be given 3 marks for that. So this is part A of the question. I hope you are following, class. Right. We move on to part B. It reads, construct the locus of points which are equidistant from XA and XB. Right. So if you encounter a locus which states XA and XB, you have to identify what you call a common letter. Right. X is the common letter. Why? Because X is being found on XA, at the same time X is being found on XB. So you have to bisect the angle at X so as to satisfy this locus. I hope you are listening. For example, if you encounter a question equidistant AB and BC, you bisect angle B since B is the common letter. If you encounter a question MN and NO, you have to bisect N since N is the common letter. I hope you are following, class. Right. So we want to bisect angle at X. To bisect an angle, you start by drawing arc of any radius. So you open radius of any size of your choice. Then you draw an arc like this. I hope you are listening. After drawing this arc, you are allowed to open up your radius for the last time. Right. Then touch this point here. You draw a small arc here. Do not change this radius. You are now touching this point here. I hope you are following. Then you draw another what? Another arc there. So you have to take your ruler and your pencil to connect the point of intersection between these 2 arcs and point X. Once you connect like this, you have managed to satisfy your locus. I hope you are listening. Right. But you need to be very careful because sometimes the examiner may give you like construct the locus of points inside the triangle. If there is word inside or within, this line must not produce outside the triangle. But you have to leave this line, right, at the point of intersection between this line and AB without passing out of the triangle. I hope you are following, class. We move on to the second part of part 2. Construct the locus of points, right, which are 3,5 centimeters from X. This locus requires a full circle, right? You measure 3,5 first from 0. Put your compass here. 3,5 is between 3 and 4. This is 3,5. From x, it means x is the center of the circle. So you have to draw the circle from this point x right round, which is a full circle. I hope you are following, class. A full circle from this point x, so as to satisfy your locus like this. Then you are home and dry. Right. Then we move on to part 3. Show by shading the region R, right, in the triangle such that R is closer to XA than to XB. Whenever you see the statement closer to XA than XB, you have to look at this boundary line, the one which bisected the common letter X. Closer to XA than XB, it means we are going to shade above this line where XA is found, above this line, not below, inside the triangle, but above this line. Right. But we have another condition here, and XR is less than or equal to 3,5. Whenever you see less than or equal to 3,5, remember 3,5 was the locus of a circle. Less than, it means we have to shade inside the circle, right? So we are going to shade inside the circle, but above this line. So it means the region R is going to come out like this. Above this line, which is nearer to XA, less than or equal to 3,5 inside the circle. Then we label region R. Then you get yourself 2 marks for that. We move on to the last part of the question. Measure and write down the length of AB. So this is very simple. You take your ruler, then you measure. This is 0 to this, 6,5 plus this 6,6, I'm getting something like 6,7. Right, so my answer is 6,7 centimeters. Right, but you have to label. This is AB. It's called 6,7 centimeters. Right, so in the marking scheme, there is an allowance of something like plus or minus 0,1 or plus or minus 0,2. It means that if a student gets 6,6, he or she is going to be marked correct. Or even if you get 6,8, you'll be marked correct. Where 6,7 is the standard, there is a deviation of plus or minus 2. Right. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. My name is Innocent MAPANDA. Invite as many people to subscribe to my channel so that they can benefit